fans, brews, and Broncos news. Good evening, Broncos country, and welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and OBS. My name is Kevin, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. We are going to spend a little bit of time going over the horrendous embarrassment that was Sunday, the Week 6 loss against the Chargers. And then very quickly, we're going to transit over to the Saints game coming up Thursday night because it's almost Thursday. And this is the perfect time, guys, for us to have a bombshell game like that because we just need to turn around and get going. You know what I meant, Jared. Shut up.
I don't. No, I don't.
Jared, how you doing?
I do. I'm doing all right, man. Better than Sunday. I'll tell you what. Looking back on some of the film, it was rough, but I am feeling better than I was. Like basically, that ruined my entire day, unfortunately. So hopefully we can bounce back here in a short week. But it's a tough one. Sure is. David, how you doing, bud?
Well, you know, there's a theme that's going to be recognized. I'm better than Sunday. You know, I am just, you know, growing more and more generally concerned as these weeks go along, but that it do be like that sometimes. And I'm sorry to Jared for any role I may have caused in inadvertently forcing him to switch his pick before the game. I think my optimism may have infected him a little bit. And,
it did.
Yeah.
It threw me through an emotional roller coaster is what happened. And no, it's your fault.
Yeah. Well, I accept that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Spotty, what's going on, buddy?
Well, I can't say that I was having a bad time on Sunday. I found myself on sweet levels, sucking down free drinks and eating all the food that I can. So, yeah, the product on the field was terrible, but when you're like 10 beers deep that you didn't pay for,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's fair enough.
You know? So, but now I'm glad we can get on here since I missed last week to talk about this. I did think it was cool, though. There's the one plus for Sunday was Chris Harris Jr. finally getting his retirement. I'm really happy to know that he's going to be a Bronco for life. It gives us really good feeling that Von Miller will join him here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic to see them go in the Hall of Fame, as well as the Ring of Fame. Let's see, Clayton, right off the bat, thinks we're on the right track, guys. Bumps and bruises are going to happen. It's how we heal. Man, winning is great. Don't be wrong. 3-game win streak, fantastic. I'm not going to complain, but I think, you know, with good leadership and good attitude, you can learn a lot from a loss. So, Spotty, man, what are some of your takeaways from this game, and are we on the right track?
Which team has good leadership?
That's why I started with you.
Shots fired
with you. I know. I said it takes with good leadership and good attitude, you can be on the right track. So that's why I started with you, because I knew that you would have some takes.
Well, let me start off by saying that the final score of that game definitely makes you feel like the Broncos were a lot closer to the game than they really were. Yes, we ended up scoring 16 points, and yes, we had a very terrible attempt at an onside kick to potentially go in. But at the end of the game, the Bolts were playing not to lose, and instead of playing a game not to win. All right. So we're really fortunate in that because and the other part that we're really fortunate about is that Vance Joseph made maybe some kind of adjustment at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
But then the offense made their adjustment in the fourth quarter. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Jared, we have to do that long before the fourth quarter. This dink and dunk crap is definitely not getting us anywhere. And for 3 effing quarters, it was.
I don't know if we made adjustments. I don't think we're the ones that made adjustments. I think the fourth quarter was garbage time. You're right. We went into the fourth quarter, Bo Nix averaging 1.1 yards per throw. 1.1. Okay, Jared.
I'm with you on this one, Spotty. Like I said it during the pregame podcast.
There you go.
I'm with you on this one. We said it in the pregame podcast. We said it in the tailgate talk. For some reason, it's really the beginning of the game. Like I get you need to get, especially with a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback, you need to get him going. You need to get him confidence in getting completions in order for him to get those deep field balls. You can't go off the bat unless you really feel something's wide open. So they're trying to give that to him. Unfortunately, it's not working because they know what we're going to do. And we have not been able to do it this entire season. We haven't been able to get anything going in the first couple drives all season. And it's always come down to a second half game. And I'm tired of feeling like the 2015 Denver Broncos with what's his name from Florida? Tim Tebow. I'm tired of feeling like the Tim Tebow, like everything's a snore fest until the fourth quarter. Like I'm over it. And I think that we need to figure out a way to get the game going.
We did win a playoff game that year.
Tim Tebow team is that we could run the football.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
our offensive line is absolutely like dismal right now, though, and it's hurt. There is some hurt players on that offensive line. I saw Mike McGlinchey is off the IR. He won't be ready for this Thursday game, but it starts I think it was 16 days or whatever that he once you get off the IR. Yeah, so he should be hopefully ready because of him getting off now by the next game after the Saints. But he's not going to be ready for Thursday night.
Yeah, and maybe Palchevsky too. And Palchevsky might be the more realistic option to come back. He's practicing again, limited too. I have to throw a little bit of shade at Sean Payton here, but not for the play calling, which I think has gotten a little bit more attention this year, obviously, because I keep seeing film analysis from people I respect after the fact of Bo Nix just passing up what he's supposed to be doing in this offense at times and taking shorter throws because I don't know why. Because he doesn't feel comfortable doing it yet, because he's just so young that he doesn't know the offense fully and he doesn't know where he's supposed to be on time with a ball at a certain moment. But it's leading to him being flushed out of pockets that he really shouldn't be leaving because honestly, they're clean for the most part, trying to create something when he should just be trying to stick with what's going on in the play. And, you know, maybe that's what him and Sean Payton were getting into it on the sideline about last week.
So I did find out, I think Sean Payton mentioned it in one of his press conferences. The argument the other week was he originally had the right side wide receiver doing that route. He called it to his boy, Franklin, on the other side, and he didn't want him to. He wanted it to be called to one side. He called it. Obviously, the guy was wide open. He gave it to Franklin, just maybe a touch overthrown. It hit his hands. He should have caught it. But what the argument was, why did you switch it? Right? Why did you switch the side that the receiver was doing the deep ball? That was the argument. So I do agree. I think obviously as I'm looking at that, I think Bo made the right call because the guy was wide open. But Sean was not a fan of that, and it didn't go as well as we'd liked it to. So.
Well, and so if you're Sean, I mean, why I have to give you a little bit of shade now is because you know, this is your guy. This is the guy you picked, and this is the guy I think rightfully put into the game from week one and made your starter and said, this is our guy going forward. And right now it doesn't look ready. And I get rookies develop at their own pace. You can't compare him to Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams right now. He's just going to do it on his own schedule, but he's got to start doing it, some of it a little bit more consistently instead of just kind of showing us the same flaws every single week. Right.
Yeah. Couple comments here, guys. Keith, tired of the team playing, not putting foot on the gas right away, starting off slow like we're talking about. You're just digging yourself into a hole every single game. And sometimes you can dig yourself out, sometimes you can't, but that is not a good way to start. Michael here, Tim Tebow wasn't back quarterback, not at all. Maybe not a great one, but he did win. He did win one of those games that happened after the regular season. I don't want to say the word, but I'm just going to throw that out there. He did do that. Spotty, looks like you got your house plant trimmed back just a little bit there.
Was it overgrown at some point?
It's one of those hanging plants, so the fiance goes and starts to trim it every so often, but I'm pretty sure it has a mind of its own.
We apparently we just do the hat thing here. We just mix it up and make it fun. I'll take the fail for today. That's fine. We're gonna mix it up a bit. Let's see. Broncos, we're spending a lot of time on offense. Let's maybe change it up so quickly to the defense.
One last thing about the offense.
Okay, one last thing. We'll come
no
back to it,
surprise,
sure.
the Broncos have lost every game that Bo Nix is the leading rusher.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they should. They should. I think that's fair. I mean, you should expect to win those games.
And Kev Dan, I sent it to you, and I sat and watched it about 3 more times because I'm so pissed about it. So Bo Nix's Houdini play where he ducks the edge rusher, which incredible, by the way. Russell Wilson takes that sack 8 times out of 8, 1,000 times out of 1,000. Awesome play. Really cool. One thing I want to highlight was Garrett Bowles let that man run scot fucking free. He didn't get a single finger on that guy. He might have got a finger on him at the end, and he almost took Bo's head off. It is the grossest neglect of blocking I think I've ever seen. And usually I would expect Bowles to just freaking grab him and at least hold him for the whole time. That would take a whole play. Instead, he almost got the quarterback killed. And luckily for us, Bo ran downfield and didn't get a taunting play. So even our healthy offensive linemen are not helping us out at all.
Yeah. Well, nobody's helping themselves, right? On the entire team right now. How many there were drives stalled out by offensive penalties. There were drives stalled out by offensive turnovers. There was the first pass of the game for Bo Nix, or was it the first third down of the game, I think, for Bo Nix, when he threw a ball that was, catchable, but also too high and a little too hot for his receiver in the right,
Mims.
Right, Marvin Mims, right, who, pops that ball up in the air and it's intercepted. They can't get out of their own way right now. And it's another sign of, unfortunately, just being poorly coached. And so it's
well,
tough.
And I said I was going to change the subject, but here we go. 3rd and 10, driving down the field. I think the first time we were driving down the field, delay of game penalty. I mean, why can we not make this simplified just a little bit more? Like that's a coaching fail. That is 100% coaching.
I would not. I'm not gonna jump on the coaches on this one right away. I haven't gone back and looked at that specific penalty. I don't know if it was the play call or getting to the line quick enough, or sometimes there is some other issues there. And I don't remember specifically at the time. I do remember looking up and being like, you only have 3 seconds to snap the ball and they're not set. Like, this is gonna end terribly for us. But I wouldn't immediately jump on like this is a coaching problem that we have a delay of game penalty. Sometimes it is on the quarterback to get the guys to the line and understand. On the field, the quarterback's the one that's tracking the count. Nobody else is tracking the play count, the play clock. So it's really on a combination of maybe Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Maybe it is on Sean Payton. Maybe he did delay or change the play a couple times before he decided what he wanted to run. But I wouldn't immediately go to coaching.
It's calls.
So let me ask you this.
They're long.
Yeah, because
they're long.
What do you think about the fact that we still just get to the line of scrimmage with 8, maybe 10 seconds on the play clock routinely? It still seems like we're consistently breaking out of the huddle early. But then you look at the Chargers, they're at the line set, ready to go, 15 seconds routinely. So it's like we're constantly behind the ball on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that could go into that. I think some of it might be he has a rookie quarterback and he's trying to call everything, right? Instead of being like, hey, you pick the weak side receivers routes for me. I'm just going to give you the primary reads. He's obviously giving him 2 plays at a time, right? As he's getting up there so he can adjust. So there's a lot that goes into giving 2 plays at a time, depending on how much he trusts him. I think a lot of that is just working between the two of them and getting the play calls out on time and in a quicker manner and understanding what that means. So I think that's kind of the point of it. And the other thing is kind of to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, our whole short game, dink and dunk, run the ball as much as we can thought process at the beginning of the game is because Sean Payton is trying to control the clock and keep our defense off the field as much as possible. It's just not working because we can't get the first downs, right? So he's trying. It's okay to be able to, snap the ball with 5 seconds left on the play clock every single time if you're getting first downs and you're controlling the clock, but we're not. And that's the problem.
I make the argument that we're not running the ball enough.
I agree.
I think we were, 5 carries, or 2 carries for Estimate, 5 or 6 carries for Javonte, who I don't even want to get into about right now. The guy's Jekyll and Hyde out there. A couple of carries for Jaleel McLaughlin. I would make the argument that I'm pretty sure we scripted almost 10 straight passing plays to start the game.
We did. We did, and I agree with you. I think we need to run the ball more. We ran the ball a total of 18 times. 6 of those was Bo Nix scrambles. So, and of course, like you said, he was the leading rusher. He had that 21-yard run, the Houdini act run, and then 6 for Williams, 2 for Estimé, 3 for McLaughlin, and 1 for Troy Flankman, and that was it. And that was the end round.
That's terrible, man. Like, we should almost have a running back that has 20 carries a game. Like, I understand, that's kind of how running backs are at this point. Look at look at Derrick Henry's and all these guys that are, old at 30 to 31 because they have a lot of carries on them. I think the best way to, we've talked about it in the preseason, the best way to assist the rookie running quarterback is to run the football. And then probably number two is having a check down tight end, but we're not going to have that.
Not this year. And especially when you have two offensive linemen sitting down, right? You've got two starters hurt, and offensive linemen will tell you all the freaking time it's easier to run block than it is to pass block. And what do? Help your offensive line, help your young quarterback.
Help your defense.
So Victor here,
help your defense.
How much blame does Peyton have with the vanilla offense? Here's one of the things that I see, guys, and what I think. You don't have to make things complicated for it to not be vanilla, for you to disguise things. Just a little pre-snap motion, and I don't think we're seeing a lot of that. Like we were seeing, I think, a lot more in the preseason, but that doesn't seem to be the case there. So, I mean, David, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm too focused. Everybody's got some blame. Everybody's got some stink on them. Is really where I'm at with it right now. Is Peyton? Yeah, I think there are times when the play calling criticism is accurate. There are times when Bo Nix is just not seeing the field the way he's supposed to be, as Sean Payton wants him to be. There's times when both of those things are happening, but the offensive line doesn't execute. There's times when a player with the ball in their hands just fumbles, and it's all just happening too often. Yeah, or drops. Yeah,
drops.
Specifically in that game, what I want to bring it to is Bo Nix's interception over the middle was a 12-yard throw. He had the guy on a break, right? He overthrew him a little bit. It was a decent read. He was a little covered, but it was a decent read if he could deliver that ball.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about a guy that probably goes to the sideline and is getting yelled at by the coaching staff, like, stop taking those risks. Now he's not going to throw those breaking balls anymore. He's not going to try to adjust to the deeper stuff. He's going to take the safe routes, and what we saw the rest of the game, the dink and dunks, and they're just covering it because they know that that's all that he can do right now. It just did not go in our favor. So yes, I do believe some of it's on Sean Payton, but what I will say is we've seen a lot more middle of the field, deeper balls than we did with Russ at this point in the season last year.
We're trying. He's trying.
How about this? How about we'll add in a little positive, but this is also part of frustration. And David, I'm surprised that you didn't bring up this. How about Vele?
Yeah.
Oh, he came back and better than ever, man. He looked so good. We've got to get him.
He looked like he did in week 1.
Yeah,
he looked like he did in week 1. Amazing.
Why was he a healthy scratch? He looked like the best wide receiver out there. Okay, I don't take.
He was.
Cortland's a freaking freak. Okay,
yes.
The catch that Cortland had it's another one of those. What's the most difficult catch Cortland's ever made before? Well, it's probably a 3 on the freaking list. Okay, but
yeah, for real.
So take Cortland out of it. Vele looked. I actually had to double check. Is that's Tim Patrick out there? I was actually looking down at my gambling, and I was like, "Hey, Tim Patrick's on the Lions. He's got a lot of yards right now. I don't know what's going on." So, I think that's a big positive. We saw Vele get out there. He was the best wide receiver when it came to getting yardage, and then we got Franklin a touchdown, which that was a great pass, and it was but also the Chargers were playing prevent at that time. But besides that, that's the growth that we want to see, right? The growth that the Broncos need. If the Broncos aren't going to be winning games, we need to see the growth coming from these younger players to see if they are also a part of the future of this team. Because we know this isn't the team the Broncos are like, we're going to win a Super Bowl with. Right. This is the team where they're like, okay, we've made some moves over the last couple of years. We need to see if these are going to be the cornerstones for the team for years going on. So I do really like the fact that I saw Vele out there and Franklin get out there and Bo doing things at times.
Well, and there's, that the flip side of that coin is it's going to continue, I think, to stay messy on the field at times. Right, guys? We talked a lot about how young the team is before the season. And now we're seeing it. We're seeing all these young guys get reps. You're seeing on defense, guys like Riley Moss get a ton of reps, right? Yeah. And it's just, Jaquan McMillan's only in his second year as an undrafted rookie. I think he had a couple of pretty crucial penalties that kept drives going for Los Angeles this last game, and wiped out a turnover late in the game too. So yeah, there's going to be those times where it just looks sloppy because you still got young players who are learning how to play the game. And it's going to be like that. You're going to see more drops from Troy Franklin. You're going to see, I don't know, Devon Vele plays pretty polished, but some of the other guys, it's just going to be like that for a little while longer at least, right?
And what we have to remember too is this is a team game, right? We could point fingers all day, but like you were talking about, Spotty, like that edge rush where Garrett Bowles just missed a block. Like you can't get anything off if one guy missed a block. You can't get anything off if your first read just can't get open because he's running a half a route, right? So a lot of this is or penalties. There was a big throw, I believe it was to Cortland Sutton over the middle, that got called back for a holding penalty on somebody. Like there was a lot of things that like we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot, and it wasn't one single person that just kept doing it. It was across the board. I don't know what it is, but it's like, you know, not everyone's playing on the same play sheet right now to be able to execute excellently across the board. If everybody executes the way that they normally do, then yeah, we have a good team. But for some reason, we just could not put that together on Sunday.
Make the argument that we haven't put our best foot forward on all phases yet. Like, I know that the Tampa game, we want to say that, but the offense still only scored twice in the first quarter, and then didn't score another touchdown the rest of the game. So we still haven't seen all phases on go yet. And I think we've seen a bit from everything. And I think that if we can truly watch us put a full game together, then we're going to be really excited for the future.
But that's on Sean, and that's on the coaching staff, right? Go out there and do it. Like, put it together at some point.
Morris here. Without Sean Payton, it would be a complete disaster. Getting more out of less for sure. So that's the kind of face I expect to see from you, Spotty. I mean, I'm not unhappy with him yet. I mean, I'm not like done with him. I'm not like super happy, but I'm not willing to say, yeah, it's time to change course by any means.
Yeah.
David already said it. He already said it. Sean Payton chose his man. So if he's not getting anything out of his man, sounds like that's Sean Payton's fault. He came out and everybody said that the Broncos loved Bo Nix, and I'm not even against Bo Nix 100%. I still don't think that I think we're looking at 25% of his potential right now. He could throw a lot better than we expected. I'm telling you, the kid is more athletic than I even thought.
So Roy, right here, Bo Nix's fault. He didn't have much feet issues at Oregon, but now he seems to he does have those. Dismal O-line. I wouldn't say dismal. I mean, other than just we're beat up. That's the big problem of why it was so bad this week. But yeah, guys, I mean, I think there's just room for improvement. You know, that was the 6th game of his NFL career, you know, and look at the weapons he has around him or lack thereof. Cortland Sutton, maybe Vele, if he continues to be like this, no run game, dismal offensive line, like $75 million of cap space we don't have. There's a lot of things going on with this team, but they're young, they're inexperienced, and they're just gonna have to battle through it. But I like where they're going so far.
I just want to be careful with trying to point blame specifically for the last game. Obviously, we're all hurt, right? We're all hurt on the inside about this last game. The Raiders game was amazing, right? And we all can sit there and enjoy the whole thing of that. I want to see how Sean Payton and Bo Nix grow together throughout the rest of the year. And we said at the beginning of the season, we're not expecting a Super Bowl winning team right now. We have to see how that develops. If these issues continue, right, specifically in the first half, we cannot get anything going on offense. That is when we can start talking about like, okay, what's going on with this coaching staff? Because yes, specifically the first drive, those are scripted plays that we have practiced all week. And if we can't get a first down, if we go 3 and out on the first drive, there's problems, right? We're not looking at enough film. We're not seeing enough things. First, second drive, we're going 3 and out. Like, yeah, we're not seeing enough stuff, or we're not doing enough film study. But after that, like you got to look at the whole picture. And I believe that coming off a 3-game win streak, we were running a little high on it. The Chargers were coming off of a bye week, so they had an extra week to prepare for us. So that's kind of how they got out real early. As in my opinion, that's how they got out real early with a couple touchdowns at the beginning. Obviously, penalties didn't help us in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not ready to throw the stick at anybody, right? I'm not ready to be like, you suck, this is awful, we got to fix it. Like, I think that there's time for that improvement and time for that growth between Bo Nix and his guy, or Sean Payton and his guy, Bo Nix.
Yeah. Love it. Joey, the Broncos will be fine with Payton. Trust the process. Enjoy the development for the next 3 years. Yeah, you guys could be as miserable as Joey is as a Giants fan, and this was a Giants podcast, we would definitely be a lot more unhappy for sure.
The hard part is the
Hey, guys,
NFL. They don't give you that anymore. Robert Saleh got fired in 2.5 years. We can't even say he got 3 years.
No.
Yeah, he got Rodgers. I don't know if he got fired.
He got Rogered.
But still, he had Rodgers, and he had a defense that was top 5, his specialty.
Yeah.
And they still gave him. I mean, look at anybody who's been a head coach in Carolina, and so I'm just saying, I want to say, yeah, we can sit back and watch them develop, but we know that the way that the NFL works, it just doesn't work out that way.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's definitely unfortunate.
I know we haven't talked about the defense yet, but I do just want to bring this up. Tight ends, just kind of over the top. Obviously Dulcich is kind of a bust. He was injured for this game, I believe. And
healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks. Yeah, I love the balloons. Yeah, healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row. They just don't trust him. Unfortunately, we thought he was our guy when we drafted him, and it just ended up not being it. Yeah, we do. I think the tight end, catching tight end would help. Catching and blocking tight end would be nice. We just don't have that right now. So I agree. I think Vele is kind of our only other big receiving threat on the offense, and he did look good. I'll give him that. Yeah. He was our leading receiver, 78 yards.
Oh, that's another reason you're seeing Franklin get more and more reps, right? Even despite the big drop in the big moment last week, they need somebody to be a real playmaker at that position. And he's shown when he gets the ball into his hand, he can do that. That seems to be translating from college to the NFL when you get him to make a catch.
Reynolds going down helps too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And now I think Reynolds practiced he's on injured.
He's on IR.
So yeah. So he didn't practice today. He'll be gone for at least 4 games. But yeah, as Jared said, McGlinchey is back at practice. Baron Browning is back at practice as well. So his return from IR window has started, and then you've got Alex Palchevsky also practicing limited. So we'll see. We might get somebody back on the offensive line.
That would be a huge boost to them. I mean, especially on the right tackle side there. I don't know, but either way, we need to get moving in the right direction on the injury front, because it's just been eaten out of way. Until this last week, we haven't really had a big name player really go down. I mean, yeah, you could say like Browning and some of these other guys, like that definitely hurt, but we were able to overcome those until first defensive snap of the game, Pat Surtain goes down, and that just sucked the life out of the stadium, sucked out the life out of the team. I think it just threw the whole game plan into oblivion. I mean, it was just bad. And so now we're also looking at not having him on Thursday, but either way, the injuries are just slowly piling up and they're starting to suffocate us.
Yeah. We might have lucked out with him it sucks that we're not going to have him on Thursday, but I think that the way that our team came out in the second half, the Chargers just caught us in the first half. It's 100%. They were, just like David said, they were ready for our defense, and it seemed like they were just not even a full step ahead, just a half step ahead on every single one of the play calls. I mean, they put a player in that we haven't even seen all year in that rookie running back Vidal, and of course, they called a play that had Barron on him in coverage, and Barron's been playing well enough as a linebacker that you haven't heard his name or had to say his name, but there's no way that he's a big man is not going to cover a running back out of the backfield. So quite honestly, they had some great play calls. I think I'd give it to the Chargers more than I'd piss on our defense on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely came out again. They had an extra week to prepare, and they figured out what our weaknesses were, and they took advantage of it. I do think we adjusted pretty well. Our defense and VJ adjusted pretty well to their offense. Again, they were playing to kind of win. They were trying to run out the clock, even starting in the third quarter. They were trying to run, they were going all the way down to the 1 second. They were waiting to trying to run the ball. They were 3 runs in a row. They were running on 3rd and 6. It was crazy. But I do believe
ran on 3rd and 10, right?
Yeah. And so I believe our defense was stepping up towards that. I think the adjustments on the defense, I don't want to be too mad. But I will say this. Pat Surtain is the heartbeat of the Denver Broncos. Yeah. No matter how you shake it up, you saw 2 games in a row, Pat Surtain was the difference.
Yeah.
Right. In the Raiders game, we were losing. He gets a pick six, and all of a sudden we score 30. What was the score? 36 or something, like 31, whatever, however many points we scored. And then on the opposite side, he gets injured first game, and it looks like we don't know how to play football all of a sudden. Like, he is the heartbeat. He is the heart and soul of the Denver Broncos. And I hope he gets healthy soon, because he really does make a much bigger impact than what he does on the field.
I think we've been spoiled. I mean, don't get me wrong. We haven't taken him for granted, I don't think, because we're consistently saying just, holy crap, how big of a guy that, how much of a baller he is, and just everything he does consistently week in and week out for this team. But now we see what happens when we don't have PS2 on the team. It's like, okay, like, we appreciated him, but now we really appreciate him and cannot wait for him to get back, because I don't know. He's the guy that, like, teams I think start game planning against, like, how do we beat him? And when you don't have to worry about him, so much pressure is relieved. It's like Von Miller.
Yep.
All of a sudden Von Miller goes down. Okay, now we can focus, and get moving. So anyway, it is halftime. We need to start moving on. Week 7's coming up, guys. So before we talk about that, remember, make sure you follow, subscribe, like everything, comment, whatever you can do, guys. Helps us out a ton. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you tuning in. That's why we do these shows, guys, and we're gonna keep doing them pretty much as long as we can, until these guys get sick of me or something else. I don't know, and then I hire new people.
Wait,
but
hire?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
Hold on. I also got that word hire. What's going on?
You guys didn't have to. You guys didn't have to interview. So anyone else does, though. But we'll see. Yeah, the pay is $0. By the way, I was
gonna say, what does this Indeed listing look like?
What are those?
Not good.
See them benefits.
I haven't.
Yeah,
it's not something I would post right now. That's for sure. Benefits is you get to hang out and talk about Broncos football. That's the only benefit you need.
Okay.
Don't forget. So short week. We'll figure out either this will be the pregame podcast, or you guys are going to do a pregame podcast. We'll get something up there tomorrow for you guys. Thursday game day, we're still going to do the pregame tailgate talk 1 hour before kickoff, so 5:15 p.m. Mountain Time. I'll be live here going over pregame, just last minute things, inactive list, all that stuff, taking your questions, and then the live halftime show as well. We'll be live then. So grab your snacks, grab a new drink, and then pop on over to the show and tell us what you think about the first half of the game. But yeah, guys, it's going to be interesting. Things are happening fast, and like I said at the beginning of the show, it's a good time for there to be a short week, because we've got to move on from this bad dream, to say the least. Yeah. So here we go. Broncos are traveling out to New Orleans tomorrow, I believe, and so Thursday Night Football, Bo Nix's first primetime game, and we have a chance to go back on the positive, going 4-3. But David, starting with you, man, what are some of your thoughts?
My thoughts
if you just want to run this as the pregame show, take it away.
Well, we're recording that, pretty much right after this. So, so I mean, my initial thought here is, guys, we have even more injuries on the Saints than we do for the Broncos this game. You've got Derek Carr out for them. You've got their starting center, Cesar Ruiz, still out. They were going to start the rookie Spencer Rattler again. They're not going to have Chris Olave, who has a concussion as well. Their speed deep threat receiver Rashid Shaheed is not practicing with a knee injury. So there are opportunities to attack some weaknesses on paper, at least, with the Saints team.
Yeah, specifically on their offense, and you know who their backup center is, right? Connor McGovern.
Which Connor McGovern?
Really? Yeah,
I don't know
which Connor McGovern.
Oh, there's two Connor McGoverns?
Two Connor McGoverns, and they both play center, and it's fucked.
This one, I'm only looking on Pro Football. It is burning my mind, because it doesn't look like him. I don't think it's our Connor McGovern.
I think it's the other one.
An amazing mustache. This guy has a mustache. I wish I could pull this up for you guys, but it is just epic. And so I don't think it's our guy. Now that you said that, I did not know there were two. Why would the NFL do that? One of them got to go. I'm just saying.
Throw a knife in a pit. One of you.
Sorry, one of you guys can't play. It's just how that goes. No, but yeah, this offense specifically against our defense, regardless. Obviously, we're not going to have Pastor Tam back in the concussion protocol. but I do believe that we're going to be able to take care of Spencer Rattler and this beat up offensive line. I think we'll be okay. They do have Alvin Kamara in the backfield. And then Chris Olave obviously is a very good wide receiver, but can Spencer Rattler get the ball to him? That's really what it comes down to. And if we can get pressure on him, then we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Olave's
yeah, he's concussed. He's got a concussion too. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If we don't win this game, if we don't.
Okay, don't you
say it.
I'm not doing it. I didn't do it.
Don't you?
Spotty, I stopped myself.
Spotty was gonna reach through the computer and freaking just chokehold you.
I felt it.
No, out of here.
I felt it.
Just don't do it, Jared.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, this is what I'm actually excited. We're catching the Saints at a good time. My buddy's a Saints fan. All right, we're catching them at a good time, dude. So Spencer is a gunslinger at his heart. He got replaced at Oklahoma by Caleb Williams, and then he really wasn't that great of a quarterback when he was at South Carolina. He's interception prone, but the thing about it is he came out against Tampa, and I'm very surprised. They put up 27 points against Tampa. Now also at the same time, the key to actually pay attention to is that the Saints had a kick return for a touchdown, and I believe they may have actually had another defensive touchdown. Don't quote me on that, but at least 20 of those, or at least 7 of their points were due to turnover or special teams. So this is a good time to catch them. And knowing that Baron Browning is practicing is awesome. And, I know we're not going to be able to touch on it too much, but Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito having a sack for the last 4 games is pretty huge. I know that if we're going to get pressure on him, that's going to help out. Their team is built on speed. It's nice to see that Shaheed potentially is not going to be in, but they're built on speed. Even the rookie, they have a guy who's like Bus Means or something like that. He has a good connection with Rattler because they are, second team kind of guys that had to step up in these games, or at least they've had a connection because they were on the second team together. So that guy's another fast person. So we have to get in. We have to get pressure. At times it felt like we weren't getting any pressure on Herbert in this last game, and I was really surprised to see that we had 2 or 3 sacks on him. So
he was slippery though too.
Yeah, I mean, he also part of their offense is getting the ball out quick. It's always
I think that was a big game plan. You saw them attacking the edges of that Denver defense, especially after Pat Surtain went out with balls, close to the line of scrimmage. And this is one thing about the Denver offense that I wish we saw a little more. And just the contrast was a little bit stark against the Chargers. Was it felt like when the Chargers were throwing close to the line of scrimmage, they were throwing to a player in motion. Whereas the Broncos keep throwing to players close to the line of scrimmage who are stopped and turned around and facing the quarterback. Maybe that's to make Bo Nix's life easier. I don't know, but it feels like they have to kind of get their feet out of the mud to start getting upfield again, whereas the Chargers were kind of already moving forward, or at least lateral and a little forward, as they were catching the football.
I do want to caveat all this because we talk about the concept of people in motion and more experienced playbook type stuff, but we're also at the same time complaining about the playbook not like being too difficult to be able to make the calls. So there's got to be some giveaway there. We got to figure out what that looks like. Once you're talking about motion guys and all that other stuff, I do believe there's something in there. I'll go back to it. There's something in there that needs to be changed with the play calls. But once you start adding motion guys and where they're stopping, because it really does depend. Is he stopping before the tackle? Is he stopping after the tackle? Is he going wide? Is he going slot? Is he going stack? Like there's a lot of different changes in the play call when you start doing that. And I think right now he's just trying to get Bo Nix comfortable in the offense. But again, we didn't see it last year either. And that was a Russell Wilson guy who's been in the league for 9 years. So
here's a question or comment from Ken here. Broncos have been the get right team for 8 years versus bad teams. Don't be surprised if the Saints D looks like the 85 Bears and their own line finally protects well. I'm going to say to that, Ken, we weren't the get right team against the Buccaneers this year. We weren't the get right team against the Jets this year. So
neither one of them were doing terrible. The Jets were, but like the Tampa Bay was looking
in
good
general
in Denver.
That's true. Okay, either way, we can take those guys on. Yeah, we can take those teams on. I don't think that there's any reason to think that we couldn't take the Saints on.
Yeah, I feel like our get right game was this last game. I think Sunday was that was the Chargers get right game, and we looked like we were trash. But there's a lot that needs to change in a short week, and it is hard. Obviously, both teams are on a short week, so it's difficult. But it is hard to game plan against a team in only 2 days. It's difficult. I don't think people understand how hard it is to be able to watch film, get everything ready, get a game plan together, figure out what it's going to be a lot of on the fly. So I'm actually really interested in this Thursday night game because I'm interested to see how the coaching staff adjusts to not being able to prepare as much for a week. Can we adjust on the fly? Can we adjust in mid game? Because we haven't seen that so much throughout the rest of the season. I want to see if they can do that this week.
Agreed. Michael says they have to stop that swing pass out to Javonte. Hasn't worked this year. I will say that the running backs, they're involved in the passing game at least. I mean, there's been a couple times. Last week, the Raiders week, I think Williams was one of the top receivers. So I can't fault them for being productive there. But I mean,
they should probably hold on to the football.
Is that a requirement in
Yes.
football? Like, do you have to? Is that like a suggestion?
I'm gonna give Spotty I need to give you a soapbox here because I feel like you got some things to say about Javonte, man. Like you mentioned it earlier. You said that. Like I feel like you need a little soapbox right now to talk about what you feel about Javonte right now.
2 weeks in a row, man. I'm telling you. And his fumble this week was a drive killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be wrong, but we might have a fumble from a running back in almost every game this year. It might not even be every game. I bet you it's 4 out of 6 though.
I think they've all done it too.
I think it is for sure. Yeah.
I know Estime has done it. I think McLaughlin has fumbled. I know obviously
Javonte's got 2.
Bidet had a fumble.
It was an ugly fumble, but he still fumbled.
So at this point, the group that has fumbled the football most on our team is the running backs.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it's something that can be fixed. It is 100% something that can be fixed. It's not something that carries with your whole entire career. People probably don't remember, but Adrian Peterson, being one of the best running backs of all time, was very fumble prone in the first couple of years of his career.
Yeah,
but all at the same time, they've been drive killers, man. It changes everything. We got lucky with bidets, I believe, because that was against the Jets, and they scored, but we still ended up winning the game. But it still has an effect on the game. And then, of course, quite honestly, they're the worst position group on our team, and that's saying a lot considering that we don't even have a tight end.
That is not what I thought we'd be saying by week 7 at the start of the season. I was high on this running back room. I was like, Williams is going to be back. He's going to be in full swing. I mean, Estime is a beast. Bidet, we didn't even know his name, but now that he's out for – I still don't know how much longer, but it's not been good by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. Well, and so let's continue to talk about this Saints game, guys, because we've talked about the weaknesses on their offense and how our defense should be able to keep after them. But what do you guys? I mean, is there a specific spot on this defense? They've still got some players. They've still got Curtis Granderson. They've still got. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore's still there. He didn't get traded, right? Okay.
No, he's still there.
So yeah, it could be another area where we're like pleading with the Broncos to run the ball, and at the same time when they do run the ball, holding our breath that the running backs keep a hold of it, right?
Cam Jordan.
Can't forget Cam Jordan. He's still there. He's still a very effective player as well.
Yeah, I mean, so our defense is ranked overall 12th in the league, and theirs is 15th. They're not too far behind us as far as defensive ranking. So it's not like they have a crappy defense, right? It's not something that we're going to put up 31 points on. But I believe that there's a chance that we can control the clock and do what the original game plan is for every game and control the clock, keep the defense off the field. And I still believe in our running backs. I know that these fumbles, you're right. A fumble in every game is absolutely ridiculous, or at least, 4 of the 6 is absolutely ridiculous. And how do you trust him? And I believe that, it's not like we had a whole week of practice to be able to focus on that, holding on to the ball. But I believe in Javonte Williams. I'm 100% believer in Javonte Williams. I think he's a very, very good running back. I think he can hold on to the ball. He just needs to be able to get himself back into his game time, into full season mode after coming off the injury. I'm expecting a big breakout game from him. It might be this week, it might not be, but I'm expecting a big breakout game from him to be the workhorse running back, and then just switching it up with the other guys with like Joker type roles.
It should sure as heck be a big week for Javonte. This last game against Tampa, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers killed them in two ways. They had Bucky Irving, who just went absolutely nuts, and then they had some rookie who came off the bench and went even crazier. Something Scott, can't even tell you his name. And then, of course, the person in the slot, Chris Godwin, killed them as well. I think he had something like 11 catches for 110 yards or something like that. Okay, so it's not like, yes, their defense is ranked 15th. I bet you they dropped a bunch because of who they played. They've allowed teams to beat them up. Unfortunately, we don't have a tight end. Dallas Goedert beat them in that Philadelphia game. I think that was where he had something like 15 catches for 130 yards. They're absolutely beatable. It's just that I'm not sure if we have the capability of exploiting that weakness. We have to be able to run the football. There's no and ifs or buts about it in this game. I'm gonna go back to it, David. If the Broncos don't run for 100 yards, and that's not Bo yards. That's not Bo leading the team in rushing. If the Broncos can't run from 100 yards, we're going to have a hard day. When we run the football and when we run it efficiently, that's when the rest of the offense opens up. But, of course, I'm not even sure if the Chargers stacked 6 and 7 guys in the box or 8 guys in the box like we've seen in previous weeks. But they kept the linebackers close enough to the line of scrimmage where they can stop that dink and dunk. Running the football can prevent that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a defensive game plan against a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback, I wouldn't be surprised if we do it against Spencer Rattler. Is load the front so you don't know who's coming at you, so you can't call the protection, and then drop guys back because you know he's not going to be able to get to that middle line. That's kind of like, defense 101 against a younger quarterback, to not know what the protection is going to be and where the pressure is coming from. So they did that. The Chargers did that to a T against us. And I think I'm expecting us to do the same thing against Spencer Rattler.
Look, the opportunity is there. And we talk about this team growing together, they're young, they're developing. And part of what we've seen in the culture in the past 7-8 years is that, we lost again. And once they lost again, it was like any bit of morale that the team had was just shattered, right? It was expected. So here's where we're like, okay, is this team really on the right track? How quickly can they bounce back from a bad loss against a divisional opponent and get back on that winning track? Are they going to sit there and they can say, hey, this is going to be a tough game, but we have the advantage. We can go out there as long as we execute. We can get that win, go back to Denver and face the JV squad, the Panthers, and keep this thing rolling, right? So I don't know. That's what I'm expecting to see, guys. Go for it. Yeah, Phil.
Yeah, Phil, we talked about the tight end and the lack of depth in tight end. That's exactly why we need a tight end that could do both blocking and going out for the pass, because you put 8 in the box and you can get him on a release. It's exactly what we need. Michael says we don't think we're using Dulcich the right way. We're not using him at all. He's been a healthy scratch. He just can't block.
Didn't we sign that monster of a tight end off the Chargers practice squad, like David Parham or something like that?
Yeah,
Isn't he on our practice squad?
I don't know if he's still on the practice squad. They shuffle that thing around so much, but yeah, I know he hasn't gotten any game action. If he has still been on the old practice squad there, yeah. Guys, the tight end thing is going to just be a thing that we have to deal with this year. Like, I think I saw Albright on right. Well, I mean, I think I saw Albright on Twitter say that if they go for somebody at the deadline, and a lot is riding on this game in particular, if they do, it'll A, be a tight end, and B, they're not looking very aggressively. So they're not going to try and make a big swing move for anybody, even if they do go out and try to trade for somebody. It's just a problem that that's gonna have to wait until the offseason, guys. That was the roster building tools that we had this year.
Yeah, they're trying to do the play the Devontae Adams, like which tight end's gonna go on Twitter and say they want out.
Yeah, but
and then maybe we'll pick them up.
But it's so hard because we haven't been able to utilize all of our draft capital the last couple of years. And do we want to give up draft capital for someone who may need a new contract to stay here or may not even want to stay with the Broncos? So I don't know. I as much as I want to see us make a lot of moves, I just don't foresee it happening. More or less we're going to be collecting draft capital opposed to giving it away.
Yeah.
Boom,
yeah, there's your answer.
Our
hand is on the price.
Jimmy for the win.
Jimmy. Appreciate you.
Well, guys, we are getting close to the end of the show, so we're going to do some closing thoughts here before too long and let these guys go. Get the pre-game podcast recording for you guys to all go enjoy on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or Stitcher, and make sure you check this out there.
Yeah, before we do, you guys want to go live on YouTube with this one too? Well, I might as well.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll go live on YouTube after the show too. So we'll be here on YouTube talking about post-game podcast as well.
So if you're not sick of us yet, you get a whole another hour or so with these guys, or half hour. You guys have been doing about half hour, so
keep it tight.
And
keeping it tight.
Yeah, I like it. Post game, we just rant, either angrily or happily, and it goes on for an hour.
We're familiar with your work on the post game podcast. Thank you.
We've
Kevin.
Listened.
Yeah, we know what you're doing.
That's what happens when you have a Lamberson. Okay,
that's true. Yeah,
that's true. That's
more
true.
like Rambleson. Nailed it.
Got him.
Got him. Hey guys, if you need a stock up for some drinks, this is for Thursday night. Make sure you're checking out Breckenridge Distillery. Their championship blend there for the Broncos. They also got vodka as well, so make sure you check them out. David, looks like you're going to need to go buy some.
Gonna have to refill.
Distillery.
Yeah, we're a little low here.
A little low. Let's see, guys. Make sure you're following us again. Comment, like, subscribe for the algorithm. FTA helps us out a bunch more than anything else. If you want to send us stars and donate to us, by all means, we'll take your money. But we're not asking you to do that. Just make sure you tell your friends about us and spread the news and make sure that they're checking us out as well. Again, game day, we got the pregame live show 1 hour before kickoff. Halftime will be live there as well. And then Friday night, we'll be doing the post-game podcast, not Monday night like we normally do. So if you're going to check this out Monday night when we're live or Friday night when we're live, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can check that out on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud as well. Guys, let's go around the horn. Some closing thoughts. Spotty, good sir. We'll start with you.
Run the football, please. Lord have mercy. Run the football. I don't care if we have to do it 35 times. We just need it. Bo will probably look a whole lot better if we're running and he can just like, oh, look, guys, now there's somebody downfield because he showed he has the ability to throw it downfield. As a matter of fact, I know I talked about the Cortland catch, but the pass was pretty damn perfect. So
the only place it could have been.
And so he has the capability of doing some of the things that we need to do as a quarterback. He's not exactly a game manager, but he could turn the tides by throwing the ball or even running the ball. But we need to set him up for success. And in this particular game, success is probably running the football and making it so he doesn't have to throw it.
Yeah. David, man, what do you think?
Just show me growth. I keep coming back to it. And it's because it's all I really want to see. I know. And everybody in this room has shown me, well, and we're not going to talk about the growths you guys have shown me. But for Bo Nix and Sean Payton, I would really like to see that growth. I would just like to see Bo Nix stay in a pocket, hang in a pocket a little bit longer and try and make the read downfield. I would like to see him and Sean Payton get on the same page a little bit more on intermediate passing plays, specific for sure, but deep passing plays too. I just want to see a little bit more in those areas and more than we saw against the Chargers. How about? Let's just put it that way.
I like it, man. Jared? By the way, sir, it's good to have you back. It's good to have you back.
Oh,
I'm just going to throw it out there again.
Oh, man, that feels good. Yeah, it feels nice to be back. I'm going to echo everybody's comments here because it looks like our good fans are saying the same thing. And Spotty, I'm going to say it again too, up as he cuts out. Run the football. I think that's going to be our big piece on this game. We only ran the football 18 times, and 6 of them were Bo Nix runs, and those were all scrambles. There we go.
Yeah,
all right,
there you go.
Those were all scrambles, and unfortunately, only running it 18 times, throwing it 33 times. We saw it at the beginning of the season. Bo Nix threw for, I think, 42 times in one of those games that we got demolished in. Obviously, a lot of it comes down to how the game is going. We got down early, so we felt like we were playing from behind. 19 for 33 he ended up going for with the interception early in the game, but 18 runs, and really it's only 12 runs. Right, 12 times we ran the ball. We need to fix that, and I do believe in our running backs. I believe that the offensive line can get those. We ran for an average of 6.1 yards, but really it was more close to like 4 yards a carry. And if you're averaging 4 yards a carry, why are you abandoning the run game? I just don't understand. We need to get that back. And that's going to be the key to this game. And I think it's going to, just like Spotty said, echo him. It's going to be the key to this. And I think Gary mentioned it too. The Saints, it's a short week. I've been mentioning it multiple times. A short week. The Saints are coming off a 51-27 loss to the Bucs. We're also coming off a loss to a division rival. So this is going to be an interesting game, to say the least, specifically for Broncos country. The rest of the NFL might not enjoy this game. It's going to be a very defensive-heavy game, as Thursday night games seem to be not as exciting. Last Thursday was pretty nice, but I don't like the short week. I don't like. I'm interested to see what the offense and the really short weeks come down to the coaching staff. Is the coaching staff able to put together a game plan in a short week going into a Thursday night game? So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
I like it. Look, run the game, be smart with the football, make adjustments on the fly, coaching, all those things. And I think we have the advantage in a lot of them. Spotty, if you're thinking coaching, you're like, no. But in general, one of the biggest things we're going to have to overcome is the injuries, guys. Phil, right here. Don't forget, we have 2 backups on the offensive line. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks a lot. And they're young, they're inexperienced. Somebody on the post-game podcast last night, we were talking about PS2 going down. I was like, yeah, but the team should be able to overcome that. And it's like, if they were an experienced team like the Chiefs that have won these Super Bowls, they've been through everything. They've been together for years. Okay, yeah, there's maybe a higher expectation that you could lose one of your star players and still overcome that. We're not there yet, guys. So we need, like David was saying, we need to see growth. We need to be patient. We need to see these guys improve and learn from their mistakes. And that's just going to take time. It's going to take reps. It's going to mean that we have to be patient. And we've waited 8-9 years already. What's another couple? Yeah. Let's just enjoy it while we can. But guys, thank you very much. Again, as we just decided live on air, you saw it, breaking news. They'll be doing the pregame podcast right after this live on YouTube. So you can check it out live. Otherwise, you can check it out later tomorrow on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. So guys, thank you very much for joining me. Jared, Spotty, David, you guys are awesome. Up here, Phil says we're an awesome quartet. I would say we might be awesome, but you guys are more awesome. We wouldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So I don't know. I have nothing left to say, guys, other than end this, as we always do, on a very strong.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone. See you later.
Do what I like, yeah, do what I like, yeah, do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.